I've got a question for you. What is it you love about bow hunting? Is it the success? Is it the grind? Maybe it's those phone calls to your dad and brother from the closest place you know to heaven. For me, that question has no simple answer. But I do know one thing. Our time here on this great planet is limited. So make the most of those moments. Cherish the memories made with friends and family. Work hard for what you believe in, stay true to your convictions. And someday, when the good Lord calls your name, greet him with open arms and a smile on your face, knowing you lived a life worth living. It is day one of my Ohio public land bow season this year. Unfortunately, last week my dad passed away, and I was in New York for the last week with my family. It's a pretty rough situation, but I got back in town around 1 o'clock today, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go kill a buck for Dad. I've got a giant non-typical that has hit a scrape a few times this summer and this fall so far, and I've got a northeast wind today, which is the only wind that I can hunt that spot. So I'm gonna go for him. I'm gonna try to kill him for Dad. It's gonna be a long hunt, a hard hunt. I've got about a 2.5 mile hike in because I have to loop way around, and I'm gonna be within a couple hundred yards of the beds, about halfway. So I'm gonna have to probably crawl on my hands and knees or stalk my way through it and try to get circled around him and come back to a white oak flat that was raining acorns about 2 weeks ago and had a lot of deer activity in there. So he'll be bedded about 100 yards away from my setup, and he should dump right down the hill and hit that white oak flat, bedded on that south ridge with this northeast wind. So I've got a plan, I've got to execute it, and I've got to do it for Dad. I'll see you guys out there. All right, I've got about 2 miles left of this hike. I'm circling way in from the west, going way south, and coming way back to the north. He's bedded on his southern facing slope with this northeast wind dropping onto an oak flat. So perfect conditions, wind seems right. I've got my milkweed to check the whole way in. I'm gonna circle around and go kill this buck. All right, I'm about halfway in. I'm in a big green briar patch right now. The bucks are bedded over here, about 200 yards. My wind, perfect northeast wind away from them. So as long as they don't hear me, I can get down in the drainage, circle, come up the oak flat, and get on those bucks. Just came down the cliff behind me. I've got to cross this big pond, jump up a ridge, get down on that flat and set up. It's 3:45, so I've got about an hour to get set up. I got plenty of time. We're getting there. I just came up out of that pond, crossed that last ridge, and I'm staring at this little white oak flat that's like 20 yards wide, 50 or 60 yards long. There's acorns raining like crazy, squirrels all over. He's gonna hit this tonight. I see the tree I gotta be in, it's like 60 yards. If I can get to that tree, this deer's dead, because he's bedded about 100 yards from there. He should be. So I've gotta crawl down through here and work up the other side of this ridge on my hands and knees and take my time and get set up. I got plenty of time. It took me about 2.5 hours to get in here and get set up. I did bump one deer, but I bumped it off of a south wind bedding face, so I'm not too concerned that it was the buck I'm after. But it did run down through there, so hopefully that doesn't mess me up. I've got a couple hours left of daylight. These white oaks in here are just raining down like crazy. There's acorns falling all over the place. We're in it. I'm right where I should be. Got a big scrape that they've been hitting pretty consistently. All I need is for him to show up again. There's a lot of activity in here, a lot of signs, so I'm pretty fired up. I just shot a giant. Dead. You guys, I lost my dad 5 days ago. It's been unbelievable. I got back to Ohio today and I decided that I was gonna go for it. I was going out. And this was the hardest hunt of my life. But I told myself, you gotta do it for Dad. You gotta circle over 2 miles in here through Greenbrier and watch this buck come off his bed. And he did it perfect. First hunt in Ohio, public land this year. Oh, come on, Georgie. Come.
You get him?
Georgie, I just shot a giant. Dad was here.
Good?
Dad was here, George.
Yeah. You bigger than the one you had on camera?
I think it's him, but he's huge in person, dude. He is huge.
Is it the same one?
I think so, Georgie. It's huge, man. He died right in front of me.
You smoked him.
Setup's right here. I was saddle hunting up there out of the DS5. And he was over coming down this white oak flat, checking this scrape. He hit this scrape right here. And arrow. Where is my arrow? I don't see my arrow, but I saw him go down, so let's go take a look at this thing. He jumped across here. And he's dead right there. He is dead right there. Right there, guys. Look at that thing. You guys, this is a public land giant buck. A giant buck. Alright, filling out my tag before I drive home and grab stuff to quarter this thing out. I'm like 2 miles in, so there's no way I'm dragging it. It's all uphill. I had to do a big circle to get in here, so do a little bit of paperwork, make a phone call, and head on out of here. In the blink of an eye, season has come and gone. Each step on this southern Ohio dirt has worn my boots and in return, fed my soul. This dream is far from over, and in fact, it's just getting started. This one's for you, Dad. All right, final pack out. We got 3 heavy bags, big old giant buck, and got Dad's buck for him, so got it done. About 2 miles to the truck.